Did you get a text message from yourself? Do not click on that link. Verizon says that it's working to block spam text messages some customers say they've received from their own number. The notification says that they have paid their bill while offering them a free gift through mysterious link. Well, Verizon says that it's working with U.S. authorities to find those responsible. The Federal Trade Commission is suing the owner of TurboTax, claiming the company misled customers by marketing its software as free, despite charging most people when they file their taxes. TurboTax says the claims are not credible. Meanwhile, oil prices dipped below $100 a barrel for the first time since Russia invaded Ukraine after reports of constructive talks between Russia and Ukraine emerged. Now, this comes as OPEC Plus meets this week to discuss its output. So here to discuss is Helima Croft. She's the global head of commodity strategy, RBC Capital Markets, and she specializes in geopolitics and energy. What an interesting cross-section, especially considering what's happening in the world right now. So thus far, it seems OPEC and OPEC Plus have not been interested in altering production, of course, very much. And of course, Russia is part of OPEC Plus. So, you know, it's not surprising. Do we expect the OPEC Plus meetings this week to have any impact on market prices?
Well, I'm actually in the Middle East right now. I was in Saudi Arabia, Qatar. I'm currently in the United Arab Emirates. And the officials here have really indicated that they're not at this time looking to add more than the 400,000 per day increase per month that they agreed on over the summer. The White House has been looking to countries like Saudi Arabia, to UAE, to increase production. But right now, they're essentially saying, we are going to be sort of in watch and see mode. They're not eager to increase beyond what they were already doing. And I think part of the issue is there's not a lot of spare capacity out there in the world right now. The additional barrels that you can easily bring to market in this region, it's about 2 to 2.5 million. And we have U.S. officials already saying that we may have lost 2 million barrels of Russian exports as companies decide they just don't want to do business with Russia because of the way they are waging this war. So we are looking at actually a very tight oil market right now. And if this war continues as we expect, I think we're going to lose more Russian barrels as Western countries impose more sanctions on Moscow.
I think that's a really interesting observation. I read some of what you said about this particular topic, that Saudi Arabia, rather, and the other OPEC nations, they're not just reacting to what's happening now, they're reacting to the possibility of further sanctions down the road and trying to manage the output based on, you know, what they could predict could happen. And so while many countries are, you know, attempting to or turning their back on Russian oil, OPEC members Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have rejected calls to expel them from the larger oil production alliance. Can we talk about why they're making that decision?
Yeah, I mean, they have worked closely with Russia since 2016. And right now, there's no indication that they're looking to sever that relationship. I mean, Saudi Arabia, I think, has a different issue than the UAE. I think Saudi Arabia is very, very concerned about the ongoing attacks on Saudi energy infrastructure from the Houthis. They're concerned that the United States is looking to cut a very narrow nuclear deal with the Iranians that won't address Iran's support for groups like the Houthis. And so what the Saudis are essentially saying is, look, before you ask us to walk away from our relationship with Russia, we really want to know that you're going to be a reliable security partner to the kingdom. So I think that Saudi Arabia is looking for a broader conversation with the United States about the bilateral relationship, and energy is a part of that conversation. The UAE, though, has essentially said, look, we shouldn't try to basically not only kick Russia out of OPEC, we may not want to curtail any more Russian energy exports because they're only going to have higher prices. They've also said that the United States and other Western countries should not be sending weapons to Ukraine to prolong this conflict. So right now, the two countries that have additional barrels show no signs yet of being willing to really break with Russia.
So fascinating. Helima, thank you very much.
Thank you.